All right, good morning, everybody. We're back for day two of the MGI Scrabble Grand Slam 2022. Excited to be here in the early morning in the US, but the players in local time in Nigeria are just ramping up. They've played a couple games already, and we're ready to launch into round 13. So I'll get you guys updated on where we're at in the standings. Another good matchup here. Wellington, Jighere, former world champion, versus Oshevire Avwenagha. We watched him play at least once yesterday on stream. Wellington at 7-4, Oshevire 6.5. Looks like he had a tie somewhere along the way. Yeah, for those standings, let's see. Maybe I should have a separate screen for those. In fact, let's see. Actually, it's probably best if I just put them here with all the other stuff. So, yeah, this is a good place for them, except there's too many of them visible. We'll just do top 8. So you can see how things are shaking out as of round 12. Olatunde, who came in first on day 1, but he's got a long way to go, is still at the top with a huge spread. And if I'm not mistaken, does that mean he had another tie game? I have to get confirmation of this from the organizers. I thought Olatunde had 9. I thought he finished yesterday with a half win. I'll get some information on that because that's crazy. I rarely have heard of a player having 2 tie games in one tournament, but it looks like Olatunde has done that, and that puts his big margin of victory, 922. That makes that important again. Anyway, I'm going to let the players know that they should feel free to start the game. I'm here, ready and waiting, I think. Again, just got to make sure all my stuff is set up, but let me just ask whether Olatunde actually did get that tie, because that would be amazing. So we will get started momentarily here. Yeah, just continuing, sorry to break the standings down a little further. Former Nigerian champion Dennis Ikekeregor, also at 9 wins. Not too surprising to see him up there. So you can see Wellington at 7th. Looks like he lost his previous game to drop to 7-5. And, oh, wow. I guess it's possible that in the previous game, Oshevire and Olatunde tied again, because I'm pretty sure I just saw the two of them had a tie and now they don't. Good morning to Mind Games Incorporated in the chat. Wellington losing his first 2 rounds today. So he kind of needs this game to stop his skid. But yeah, I'm so curious. I'll have to look. I mean, I can see the standings link here. It actually goes a little deeper into the round by round standings. Yes. The previous round between Olatunde and Oshevire was a tie, 438 to 438. Crazy. All right, we got our players here. I might have to ensure that we can actually see Wellington a bit. Let's see what happens if I can. Oh, there's actually no. I can't extend the camera too much further. So we're seeing a bit of Wellington and a lot of Oshevire, but that's okay. We can potentially tilt that camera slightly. Okay, put in that request. I'm a little worried about my voice. I'm drinking some nice warm water. Probably between rounds, All right, there we go. Ooh, maybe even a little too much. That's fine, actually, because Oshevire is leaning back. All right, perfect. So the players, I'm going to just be very clear, ready to begin. And man, I have to say, the games were really exciting yesterday. If we are in for some of the same today, that would be great. Also, I'm loving these shirts. It looks like the players have some kind of Scrabble themed shirt where you can see the letter bonuses on those shirts. I have to get one of those. Those are really snazzy. You can see on Oshevire's arm, he's got the center star. There's bonus squares there. I would definitely be rocking that shirt. All right. Away we go. We shall see. These racks are just the testing racks, just for the record. There we go. We have a rack in. And it looks like Nimrod will be the play for Wellington. That is a very nice idea here. This rack, it's not going to score a ton. You can't really get the M, the only 3-point tile that you have. On the double letter score with anything that also uses a D, I guess you could play minor or something like that, but that's not really ideal. So I do have the Quackle board ready in case we need it. And rather than have the screen sort of flashing to the standings throughout, just going to show the standings as needed, especially given that in this format, the games take a while. The new results aren't coming in that quickly. So Oshevire with kind of a weird rack, whereas Wellington has a bingo on his rack of either C-word or adwares. So we will see. I don't think it's really possible for Oshevire to make a play that's going to deny Wellington all of his bingo options here. Thank you, MGI in the chat, saying we'll get me one of those shirts. Yeah, I would proudly walk around with that lovely shirt. It looks like Wellington has a red one and Oshevire with a blue. I do have some Scrabble attire. Not too much. I have my jersey. People always want me to wear my jersey. I got a jersey for attending a baseball game as a guest of the team, a minor league baseball team in the United States. And they had these nice jerseys that they were giving the team for National Scrabble Day. So I have that jersey. I could go get it right now. It's right over there. Anybody want me to put my Scrabble jersey on? I guess if there were ever an appropriate occasion, it would be today. Morning, Alex. Oh, I never resolved the prediction yesterday. Whoops. Stand by. Let me do that. I'm seeing the number 1 on your name, indicating that you had voted in the prediction. Let me fix that. So Oshevire is having a good think here. Yesterday we saw a lot of incredibly fast Scrabble play. Choose prediction. Who will win? The answer was Wellington in epic fashion, in fact. So you were correct, Alex, and you're going to get some points here. All right, Oshevire putting down just moo. I wonder, so that's a reasonable play. I was wondering if he was going to put down that I. So this is an archaic word here, mooey. Very, very, let's see if my define bot is working. Yeah, a South African word. This looks clearly best. Um, I think the hesitation on Oshevire's part was simply um, wanting to use the U, right? That U is not the best vowel to keep if you're trying to bingo. But Mui scoring quite well with that M. You see where the M goes. Hold on, where's my... Can I do this? Yeah, this M here is making MM on a double square, so it actually scores quite well. And Wellington instantly plays his bingo, of course. No surprise that he had that lined up. And as soon as he saw that Mui did not block, the sound of an extravagant cow, exactly. All right, I got to get into the habit of getting these scores updated again. So right now the score is 106 to 25. So Oshevire did have an S on his rack. We'll see what he drew to it. Oh man, another U. Not what he wanted to see. And also a Y. So that's really sort of the opposite of what he was hoping to draw with that URS sleeve. So he plays your for 37. That's a pretty good play. It has a major drawback, though, of leaving both U's. That's certainly damaging to his chances of doing something good with his S to C word next turn. Wellington instantly responding with by far his best play of Vought, making all those overlaps, including the IU overlap, which that's a word that features prominently in my YouTube video about Nigel Richards playing Alf as my favorite Nigel move. My top performing YouTube video. Primarily because of the streamer we rated yesterday, Virtual, watching it on his stream and recommending it to his viewers, which I was very grateful for. So with those two U's, there we go. We see tux be played. I think most of us regard tux as a relatively normal word for tuxedo. I don't think too many of us regard tid as a normal word, but it is a valid play. Nicely played. So Oshevire remains a bit behind, but he can pin a lot of his hopes here on the S at the base of the board, and you can see Wellington very cleverly is opting to block that by playing seal. That makes a lot of sense here, I think. So seal at the base of the board, scoring 32, brings him to 181, and it really cripples that S hook of C words, which is a big issue here. So this is going to be much more difficult to use with the L. Whoop. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. Might be able to rotate this too. Yeah, let's try that. It's going to be pretty good. Okay, but nevertheless, with that S that Oshevire has, he's able to use it relatively effectively by playing through the ID that was already on the board for 50 points. That's also his best play. So very solid, crisp play here by the players. It's worth noting on the previous turn with Seal, Wellington had a really nice play of Silex potentially available to this X, but I think the idea of blocking off the big C words hook is really worth it. So on this turn he plays Bleeny. Now the previous play I had mentioned, Silex, the variant spelling of that you can actually spell with a K. I feel like this is a word that I've seen like in Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. I feel like there are chalices that are called, you know, chylices and whatnot. Let me just get this in the right place. I don't know. This looks a little off. But that's okay, as long as you guys can tell that the word goes right there. So Awa comes down. Bellini was the second best play to Kylix there, but I think it was probably warranted. So Awa is the play here for Oshevire. There was a really nice option for him at the base of the board with that rack of Putiel to the L. I'll show that with Quackle just so you guys see. So with that rack, Putiel to the L at the base of the board would have scored quite nicely. It would have left with 2 A's, but it's enough points extra. Given that Awa is only 13, Putiel is 31. So that's a tough play, though. And Awa makes a lot of sense thematically because he had the 3 A's and he's looking to shed 2 of them. I would fully expect Joke to be played here. Joke, isn't it nice when a Scrabble rack has a solution that's a relatively common word? They're out there. Those words are out there. Joke comes down for 50 points. Play proceeds nice and quickly. And a 7-letter word on Oshevire's rack, overapt. Doesn't appear to fit anywhere on this board, which is that classic Scrabble feeling we're all hoping to avoid. But yet it is a fact of life that sometimes you're going to draw words you can't play. The torment of Scrabble. But without that torment, the feeling of having a word that you actually can play, you wouldn't feel so sweet, would it? Have to have some delayed gratification. So Wellington's up 100. Oshevire has not bingoed in this game yet, and Wellington has with C word. That's kind of the difference right now. But there's still plenty of game left. You can see both blanks have yet to hit the board or have yet to hit either player's rack. With these good overall, Oshevire's tiles are quite good for bingoing. The P and the V together are the issue. Really, the V is the issue. The P is a solid bingo tile, especially combined with all those other letters. So the issue is, do you play more of your tiles and play Vortex here? Or do you just try to play your V somewhere by itself? And Oshevire has opted to play Vortex, placing the V out in the triple lane in slightly dangerous fashion. So you can see right here is going to be a pretty easy spot. I really think Wellington is likely to play there, even though he has a Q he needs to deal with. I expect him to play C-I-V-E, Sive, in that spot, unless there's some other longer play that I'm not seeing. So, but I think that is a solid choice for Oshevire nonetheless. He needs to make something happen. He needs to make some crazy spots on the board. Oh, Alex had suggested Vortex, yeah. Okay, good. Players aren't gone too long there. Yeah, portive, right. That's a plausible looking word. Maybe it crossed Oshevire's mind, but at this level, a word looking plausible is only part of the story. You have to have some memory of having seen it in your training, in your study. And even if a word looks really plausible, if you don't have a memory of having seen it before, which of course memory is fallible, right? Like memory can be misleading, but that's definitely going to go a long way in helping you to ascertain, is this a word? All right, let's see. That's pretty good. Trying to get the drawing on stream thing to look accurate. Let's see, the upper corner, this corner, this corner. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so Wellington continues to run his lead up into the 100 range. If Oshevire has any hope here, he needs to get a bingo soon. And playing putts for 50 is a great first step to getting there. So you see he played on his previous move. He had played putts right here. Wellington responds with a very, very solid cue play. That's going to hurt a lot. That word, Cade, that's a word that, wow, this play is far, far, far better than any candidate choice besides that play. So that was a must to find. But if you play Scrabble long enough, certainly at this level, you'll see this word a lot, and it's worth noting that that word blocked planting through the eye of Blaney for a massive score. Very, very tough break. Obviously, I say tough break, but from Wellington's perspective, this eye was easily the biggest threat, and he was able to play off his cue and block it at the same time. So, of course, he was going to be trying to block that area, but of course, it's extra sweet and extra bitter for Oshevire, knowing that he had a huge bingo, really, really big play, ready to come down through that eye. So he plays porn through OR, leaving very solid bingo tiles. The only issue with that now is that it doesn't do much to create more space to play a bingo. It also doesn't score very much. So things are getting grimmer for Oshevire as the board kind of tightens up here. And Wellington truly has a very good sense of how to control a board, how to manage a lead, and come back from a deficit. I feel like that's something that he's shown time and time again is kind of a separator for him. Why was Wellington Jighere able to win the World Scrabble Championship? It's because his knowledge of board dynamics are very, very strong. Morning Sidewinder, who had correctly predicted the play of putts there, that temporarily gave Oshevire a little bit of hope. You see, he does have a bingo here on his rack. And there actually is a possibility, I think almost actually a guarantee, that Oshevire is going to have enough options to bingo to play next turn. I believe. Yeah. So it's Wellington's turn. He has decent bingo tiles himself, but as I said, he's not really worried about bingoing. He's worried about controlling the board. But for Oshevire, he has his pick with that rack of Tangler of playing Argental through this A, or Trangle making EU, the female sheep. So we will see Oshevire bingo. And again, neither blank has been drawn by either player, so they're still lurking. So if Wellington somehow makes his next play, whatever that is, and doesn't draw a bingo, and Oshevire plays a bingo, which we believe he will for sure, he's going to see those two options here. At this level, the players have seen words like that in their preparation, in their study. So it would be baffling not to see Oshevire bingo, and he could easily pick another blank and bingo again. So that's very much in play here. Suggestion of hiding to block lines, that would be through the ID on the board. So hiding here, that would be a pretty good idea. That blocks this lane pretty effectively. It leaves just this A, which isn't really terribly threatening. It happens that Oshevire has a bingo there. I like that suggestion. A similar similar plays might be something like this. You might play something like lighted. Nice thing about lighted is it scores decently well. Problem with it is that it gives at least one or two tiles to play through that weren't there before. So you're not really blocking super much. Let's see what Wellington is actually playing. He's playing A-ing. He's playing A-ing. Interesting choice. This does look somewhat blocky. You do want to block the line underneath ID. So it's from Wellington's standpoint, as we do see Triangle go down quite quickly. I think the number one objective of A-ing was to simply cut off, and hopefully we get the players back momentarily, of course, to cut off this line, which is the most damaging due to the double word scores here. If Oshevire were able to hit a 7-letter word, touching both of those doubles, that would be the most damaging play. So Wellington blocking that. Oshevire bingos, as we suggested he would. And looks like Wellington has not drawn a blank. So the odds continue to become better and better that Oshevire is going to get one. Wellington, in fact, drawing kind of a mismatched set of low-scoring tiles, such that if Oshevire manages to draw that blank and bingo, which is going to be difficult, where on this board can you even play one? It's going to be really, really tough. But maybe, just maybe, I know, and there you go. You do see that first blank find its way onto Oshevire's rack. Maybe, just maybe, Wellington is going to look at this spot as the only place that he can really score any points at all. And this A will sort of remain open as a lifeline. But I don't think Oshevire's rack supports bingoing through that A particularly well. Wellington falling asleep by his body language, which we formerly could see. Hopefully, let's see. I don't know. There's only so much I can do here. I can refresh the cache of that on-screen element and hope that it works to regenerate them. But certainly the board is quite important. So as long as we have that, we can go through outages of the players. Just letting them know. This is tricky. This is a tricky move. In Wellington's favor is the fact, and he plays Dote. That looks good. Again, that area of the board was the most promising for him to get any kind of points. As they're now close on the scoreboard, maybe blocking up the board shouldn't be Wellington's top priority anymore. That's a really astute comment. I definitely agree. Managing to score just enough to sort of stay ahead by a bingo-ish score is definitely a top priority for Wellington now. Also, the board, frankly, is quite blocked up. I think he's looking at this board and likely saying, you know what? What do I have to be that worried about here? The A of Awa is my biggest threat, and that's not really that scary. I should note, though, that Oshevire has drawn the H, which is actually a pretty important tile, because if he can get his rack into position to end a bingo in an H, this is actually kind of a scary spot for him. So let me just quickly get the tracking here. So this would be from Oshevire's standpoint here. So you can see the unseen tiles to him are pretty good. 2 S's and a blank. So he has to be careful of opening too much. I think for me on this move, I would be doing my best to score as well as I can. And I see looks like we'll get the player cams back momentarily. Maybe I'll just turn that element off on this screen for a moment. I would be trying not to use my H if at all possible. Unfortunately, it looks like most of the ways to score any points here do involve using the H. Is Feldgrau still an option? Oh, that's really interesting. It looks like if you play off HA, I don't know. I think it's actually not an option with the unseen tiles. Hey, it's a raid from Zando with a party of 9. Thank you very much. Not sure if you guys were... Well, with Zando, you never know. He plays so many different games. Or at least the backlog on Discord suggests that he's going to be in gaming purgatory for many, many years, playing hundreds and hundreds of games that have been requested of him. But I'm not sure if he was playing Scrabble today or not. But welcome to the Zando Raiders, many of whom I probably know. Appreciate that. Not playing Scrabble tonight. That's okay. Only so many of us can stomach playing Scrabble each and every day. Okay, so we do see the play from Oshevire. He's going to play just... All right, hold on. We have a new link for the players. I'll have to get that set up for you guys in just a moment. Let's try this. So we see that Oshevire has played that H, which I think is fine. It's going to be difficult. There we go. We got the player cams back. So just to be clear, CH being a word made that H, I think, especially valuable, but there was also a need for Oshevire to score some points so that any eventual bingo that he plays will actually be enough to try to overtake Wellington. So I don't think I wasn't able to find a good play that preserved the H there. So Oshevire probably wanted to, wasn't able to come up with one, and ultimately gave up. And we're going to see, wow, very, very nice play by Wellington of Feist. I think this is a dog. Isn't a Feist a dog? Not one that's feisty. Or maybe it is. If you're feisty, you have Feist. Yeah, that's an interesting play. I wonder if Wellington did a little bit of mental math to find out that no matter what Oshevire has here. Oh, wait, Wellington's picking it up. He's doing his classic thing. So the psychology is strong. We saw it yesterday. We did see this yesterday of Wellington has now sort of shown Oshevire that he has a scoring play that's potentially good enough. Now he's just put AI down on the board for 2 points, trying to block off that A. I think Feist is likely to be fine here. If you were to imagine the worst case scenario from Wellington's perspective would be some kind of big bingo ending in A to the triple. So yeah, that's That's pretty crazy. I mean, just AI for two. Certainly, Oshevire, I feel like, oddly, um, Wellington drawing a B and preserving the possibility of playing Feist on his next turn, right? So Wellington still can play the same play he just put down right here on his next turn. He's just taken an extra turn to block. The scary thing about it, though, is just that. So now there's one tile in the bag. So I think that's still going to be a pretty strong winning play for Wellington. Looking for things like long stride. Is that a word? Some kind of a 10 to IDE on the board? Oh, I guess it's not, but that seemed very plausible to me. So Sidewinder's looking for bingos here. I wonder what's CIVE is actually probably the. Let's just see. Is this command work? Maybe that's the way to win this game. I don't think with both blanks, you're never going to be closer to actually having a play like this, right? But there's only one tile in the bag. So the plays like that don't appear to be available for Oshevire here. That would be really special to see a game end like that. And with both blanks, I would be looking for something like that for a while. Suggestion of just NU for 2, leaving the G hook. Oh, that's interesting right here. I think that's because that's going to empty the bag. I guess it could be relatively, well, I don't know. That's actually a good idea. I think that's a good idea. I do think that Feist outruns all of that because Wellington is currently up by 40. If you see NU, he's up by 42. So NU is going to make the score an even 40-point lead. And Feist will score quite a lot, but then I don't know. You're getting close. If the eventual bingo, oddly, what's hurting Oshevire a little is that he has both blanks, and his eventual bingo is going to score less as a result. Can Wellington actually block the O ending bonuses above putts? Probably not. I guess is there any way that you can get all the way here with something like OOR? That's kind of, it's not required, but getting those extra points, I worry that even with a bingo, if Oshevire fishes one tile, he has to be able to beat a play like Feist, which Wellington already proved he doesn't necessarily still have it, but he's likely to still have it from Oshevire's perspective. It's actually, oh wait, no, I don't have the right rack. Sorry, this is not correct. Tracking is not right. Tracking is this. There we go. Do we lose the... Oh, no, we have the players now. It's tricky. I don't know. I'm curious. Let's ask the engine. I'm going to ask the engine if it has any play that it likes. Oh, boy. It's going to take a while. Hopefully it doesn't crash my stream. Wow. Okay. Just AL. AL for 2. So I wonder what Oshevire's idea is here. He's probably fishing for something very specific. What that is, I haven't quite worked out yet. He's going to draw, let's see. I think he's going to draw an S, if I'm not mistaken. And Wellington playing Bafts. That's a pretty good play. Maybe he suspects that these are the letters that Oshevire is going for, and also potentially that scores pretty well, potentially well enough to outrun a low scoring bingo here. Also, I'm not even with that S draw, oddly. Normally you love to see the S, but I think Oshevire was hoping for a vowel here. Oh, he's going to challenge. Is he? Yeah, he's going to challenge. Okay, so the computer engine really liked Oshevire's play of just AL. So I wonder what it wants him to do. That's very, very impressive. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yep, that's the logic. Dump down there to stop the Feist plays and potentially draw something. If you draw, probably you need a vowel. E or A would get the job done. But it doesn't, I don't know about the S. I don't think the S is going to do it. It looks like, what? Oshevire is off checking Bafts. I would also have imagined that maybe it's possible to get a 9-letter word ending in "nigh," right? Like it's not impossible that you could draw something here, and Bafts blocks that. So Bafts is a winning play. I'm just wondering, like, if Wellington were to pass, what would happen with this rack? Oh my God, there is a bingo. Okay. So with that S, all right, before Bafts, so I'm pretty sure Wellington gets an extra 10 points for the challenge. And I have to say, look, so, oh, a toilet break. Okay, he went to the restroom. Never mind. So it was not a challenge, so we won't give Wellington his extra points. But look at that, with that rack of Oshevire's, he has a bingo here that Bafts blocked. So I wasn't even really imagining, but clearly I should have, that this is kind of a sneaky sevens lane that scores well enough to win a lot of scenarios here. So Robings was the only playable bingo prior to Wellington's turn. So of course Wellington actually plays all he has to do is play in this spot and he's going to win the game. And now there are no bingos available for Oshevire on this turn. So, wow. I think maybe in the heat of the battle, you're starting to realize that that spot could be a sneaky threat with the snai hook. So I realized that that's not, this looks very, this word isn't super normal, and a lot of the overlaps that have to go in this spot are going to be obscure. But I'm sure that I actually wonder, like, it's kind of interesting that AI play, right? Like, without this AI play, the R doesn't fit here. So I wonder if the AI play actually somehow makes it kind of worse. But I doubt it. I think that's just dumb luck. Surf Ride would be quite stylish for sure. I think the other stylish plays here is that he could do extensions to Civ, right? He could play coercive or something like that. That scores the best, and would be quite stylish. But either way, I think it makes total sense. Let me just make very clear that the score, I need to get the score right. So the score now is 415 to 341. So if we were going to randomly give, hold on, I'm trying to make up a word that puts an O. So if there were a mythical word that plays with an O, making op on top of putts, right here, would it be enough to win in this case? And I'm trying to figure that out. No, it would not. So even if you make up a word, it's not going to work. So where would be the winning bingo here? I don't even know. You need enough points to overcome a pretty sizable deficit, 74 points. So that spot isn't going to do it. So you probably would need something ending in OOR. So like Grand Sewer or something. Let's try this. That would do it. So no reason for Oshevire not to spend the rest of his time trying to find a play that hits this R. Of course, it's just it is a doomed quest. So this will be a nice game for Wellington to stop his skid. He's lost his first 2 games of the day. He's about to win his third, get back in the right track. Again, was op any good in the sim? So I just asked championship player. Sometimes championship player doesn't uncover plays like that, so I would have to take a look, which I can do. So just op here. The idea being to set up a play with crop or clop. Man, it still really likes AL. I think the blocking component of that play is still really important. And I also think it likes AL that much because if you're simming, it's not clear to me that the sim is giving credit for blocking this spot. I think AL does so well because when you draw the B or the S, you get robings a lot, but that gets blocked every time. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's probably you're going to lose to Feist or something similar. All right, so we have seen a play. Looks like gels or gals or something at the base of the board there. We'll just pretend that it's gels, and Wellington plays his I and E. His only outplay was in this spot right here through the D of Dote. That was his best move. Final score of 425 to 368 in favor of Wellington. Nicely played. That was a really, really interesting game. Going all the way back, we like this play of Nimrod. We like this play of Mui. We like this play of Seaward, of course, is only bingo. This play of Yor gives me some pause for Oshevire simply because it kept 2 U's on this rack. There were other options, maybe just YU here, that I like a little bit better because they score well. They don't score that much worse than Seaward, and leaving just the 1 U really makes your bingo chances so much higher than keeping both U's. Keeping 2 U's is so fatal to your chance of bingoing, whereas after just YU, you keep EORSU. That's actually pretty good. So I would consider that maybe a small mistake. This is a great play. This is a good play. Good play. Good play. Here, potentially, I might prefer just Kylix here. Might have escaped Wellington's notice. Bleeny is a solid option if you don't see that. But if this is as close to a mistake as Wellington made. Play of Awa here. I pointed out Putiel might have been a little bit better. Yeah, you preserve C words. Yep. I think you can hit that spot so often after you in early game. We like joke, vortex. All these plays are really strong just throughout the whole, like, everything here. Vortex is good, Sive is good, Putz is good, Cade is good. Porn makes sense even though it's a tough position. Aing makes sense. Triangle was the best bingo. Dote was probably forced. Fa, this is interesting because Fa does, we saw the issue with Fa, which is that it gives up a lot in counterplay. Whoa, not sure what's going on with our player cam. I'm just wondering, like, does this make sense, right? Is this something opening up the top of the board? This score is the same. It's probably not that easy to hit the triple, at least in a way that doesn't empty the bag. Like, if so, in this particular situation, there are 5 tiles in the bag. This is from Oshevire's perspective. 5 tiles in the bag. So by playing Fa, you leave 2 tiles in the bag, meaning this triple is not accessible unless you empty the bag. It requires 3 tiles to reach the triple at minimum. Whoops, sorry. I don't know why the drawing is so screwy. Oh, I know why. Because I should be doing this on a different screen. That's fine. But you get it. 3 tiles up here to reach. Arg is an alternative to Fa to leave 1 in the bag. Yep, Arg is a pretty solid idea. It's actually, oddly, probably more difficult to underlap than Fa, just because it's worth noting also with the 2 S's, you're going to get hit with F's a fair amount. Also, there's an E. That's going to be an issue. So if opponent has AE, you're going to see plays go through there that hit decently well. So I'm kind of liking this just because it's not really possible for Wellington to play safely to the triple without opening himself up to game-ending bingos. You could also, well, that doesn't look great. But what I would really love to see here is a play that keeps the H, because I feel like that those H, if you could score decently well and keep the H here, that would be so important. Because your eventual bingo hooking CH would score just a few more points, right? You get those 7 extra points for CH hooking plays. But I really don't see a play that makes me very happy. That keeps it. It's just like, because there are 2 S's available in the pool, you can draw that SH combination. You can definitely hit stuff that ends in H. So, tricky. Okay. I'm still asking the computer for its thoughts on this move. But, as I said, I'm a little fra and any. Oh, yeah. I mean, it accomplishes the objective of keeping the H, but it might not be any better than the other plays. Hey, what's up, John Lee? Hope you're doing well. Not sure how you're, whether you're just coming off of a stream or whether you're just waking up. John keeping weird hours in the name of Twitch streaming, which I guess I can relate to, given that I'm sitting here at 6:20 a.m. local time, having streamed already for about an hour. I guess I shouldn't throw stones. But thank you very much, John, for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. We are playing a pretty high-level Scrabble tournament located in Lagos, Nigeria. And we're a lot of rounds in. We played 10 rounds yesterday, 2 rounds off stream today. We're picking up with the action in round 13, and we're going to be taking you through round 20 over the course of the day. My biggest issue is keeping my voice alive. Right now it's okay, but I'm a little worried. Okay, the engine wants to play Haifa. This is an intriguing idea, if only because you're setting up a possibility of bingoing from a heavier tile here that needs to be addressed, right? Like, now you're setting up potential bingos from the H if you draw them that hit pretty hard. So maybe that makes some sense here. It feels a little counterintuitive because it blocks off this A, but making another spot is kind of nice. So, yeah, it's tricky. Anyway, Wellington played the game extremely well. Very, very minimal mistakes here. And that's going to do it for round 13. So I think I'm going to take a quick break here. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I might go get a little bowl of cereal. So what we will do is continue to monitor the standings here, of course. These were the standings going into round 13, and we know that Wellington, who was in 7th place, just secured a much-needed win to sort of keep pace here. Tough loss for Oshevire, who was in 9th, just cut off here. So we saw a matchup between those two. So that'll set Oshevire back. But again, that was just round 13. And there are many, many more rounds to go. We've just reached the halfway point, right? A 24-round main event. So the players are just getting into the back half of those 24 games. And at the end of those 24 games, we will have a best-of-5 finals. So this is going to be a long morning, slightly longer than yesterday, to get to the lunch break. And then the afternoon session will be slightly shorter than yesterday. So that's what's going on. John, as a musician, if you're still there, need some tips to keep my voice fresh. I feel a little bit of that scratch in my voice. So I have what was formerly hot tea. Actually, not hot tea. It was just water. And yesterday I had some orange juice. Oh, man, I wouldn't have suspected that. We don't have any orange juice in the house because I'm not supposed to have too much acidic stuff. And neither is my wife. So we're not orange juice drinkers. Maybe I have to run out and get some orange juice. Oh. It's cold. Yeah, let's take a break. We do have our little anagramming. I've lengthened the words. People seem to want the longer words. I don't want to be too intimidating for newer players, so the word lists that we're using is the common word list. So all these words should theoretically be words you know in the anagramming. So I have that up again. So I'm going to take a quick break, just a few minutes in all likelihood. And we'll be back with round 14 very soon. So stick around for more coverage of the MGI Scrabble Grand Slam 2022 in just a few minutes.